Hi, hello, welcome to Matt's Line Sports, and today I'm talking about what is the future of Chicago sports. I'm going to go through every team and make some predictions on where I think they're going to be in the next 5 years. It's going to be a fun one. Alright, but a quick disclaimer, this is going to be my last video. TLDR, this is for a sports journalism class, and unless I get like 100,000 views or something crazy like that, I'm going to be done making videos. I was supposed to make 8 videos, 8 minutes long. I did that with this one. You know how it is. But let's get started with my Chicago Cubs. I am extremely optimistic about the future of the Cubs. I think Pete Crow Armstrong is a legitimate superstar. Like, he has top 5 in the league potential, MVP potential. He could honestly do it this season. His playstyle isn't very transferable in the long term as someone like Kyle Tucker's is, just because it revolves a lot about speed, and speed naturally gets worse as you get older. Duh. So I think that he's going to have a crazy prime, and he's going to have a crazy long time, but he's not going to be like one of these Mike Trout guys who's still playing amazing into his, well into his 30s, you know? We also have a lot of prospects that just keep getting better. I saw there was a pitcher that was doing really well. There's a second baseman, I believe, who's doing really well down there in the AAA. And I think we're going to need that, especially because we are not re-signing Kyle Tucker. After this season, he is gone. Because I think we're going to spend all that money re-signing PCA. We're not going to have any for Kyle. I do think we make it to the NLCS this year. I think it's going to be a big year for the Cubs because we're going to get far. We're going to get knocked out by probably some team that takes advantage of our really poor pitching and depth. And we're just going to have to live with it, you know, of what could have been. I think Bush is still growing as well. I think he's going to be not maybe as good as PCA, but he could get to like a Kyle Schwarber type top of the hitters in the league. Same with Suzuki. I think he can get up to that level, but he's a little bit older, so it's not really like a development. It's more like, can he stay consistent instead of being the streaky guy that we know him to be? So I'm very optimistic of their success, and PCA is going to be a Cub for life. Now let's get to the Sox. I'm going to be honest, it's not looking great. One prediction I have, and I know death is not something to laugh about, but I do think Jerry Reisendorf is going to die in the next 5 years. He's already 89. He was alive during the 30s, which is insane. So I think he's gone. One hot take I have is that the new owner is going to try moving out of Chicago, and so you guys are going to have a little big panic where you're like, oh my god, we're going to St. Louis, I don't want to go there. And then after a week, everyone's going to be like, yeah, no, that's not happening. I think that is just going to be super overblown. But if that happens, come back to this video. And then you got to like and subscribe. I haven't said that once. That's big some restraint. I think that also every player on the current White Sox team is probably going to leave within 5 years. I think that's a good thing for the players as, you know, their careers can fully develop. And I think it's a good thing for the team as they can finally, you know, hit the reset button after Jerry's gone and hopefully build something better. I mean, I'm rooting for you guys because when the Sox are good, the Cubs are better. So, I'm rooting for it. Then we got the Bulls. I think we're going to sign up some washed-up celebrities like we did with DeMar DeRozan. I mean, I don't see why not. I think Giddey will peak at an all-star selection. I think that's a ceiling. Some people are like, yeah, he could be, you know, all-NBA. I don't think so, but I would be pleasantly surprised if he was. I think Kobe will not be an all-star, but I think he will be one of the best in the league. He could be one of those, you know, just on the brink of making it. Or maybe even getting a selection as a reserve. But I can't see him being a first ballot all-star, you know. Then we got Modest. Modest is 100% developing into an all-star. He's going to be there 3-4 times maybe, like a Tyrese Halliburton level of consistency. I think he's going to blossom into a star for the Bulls and take us not to you know, the top team in the league, but, you know, maybe a 4 or 5 seed. I think AO might win a six man of the year upcoming, especially if this team evolves the way I want it to. I think it could be a very real possibility. I think Zoe will probably be traded. You know, we got so many point guards. You're aging, you're really popular, I think you're overrated, which is really good for trading, even though this AK regimen is really bad at trading. So I think you're gone. I love you, Zoe, but, you know, that's just my prediction. I think it'd be really funny if we signed a 37-year-old Giannis. Because people have been talking for so long about we're going to sign Giannis. He's going to come here with a little cane and be like, I'm ready. And that's all it's going to be. I think we're going to be the 5 or 6 seed 5 years from now. Not, you know, super competitive, but at least we get some playoff games in there, you know. Side note, I think the NBA is going to have one-on-ones. I think that's going to be an actual thing they implement into the All-Star game. Next, we got the Blackhawks. I think we have a dynasty on our hands, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my gosh. If you are a fan of hockey, I'm not a fan of hockey, but everyone I know that's a fan of hockey is really optimistic about the Hawks. Not just Connor Bedard, who is low-key a bust. Not a bust. Not as high as people thought he was going to be. But this entire team is just really coming out nicely, and I think that if they develop and get more time, they could have a dynasty on their hands. Maybe 1 or 2 Stanleys. I would be ecstatic if that were to happen in the city again. Because when the Blackhawks are good, you know, life is good. Then I got the Chicago Sky. We are going to dominate the Indiana Fever. Caitlin Clark is going to have no help while we're going to have a well-rounded team. We're going to have Angel Reese, Van Lith, and a couple other young people who are going to dominate the league. And it's going to be like one of the biggest rivalries in sports. The Sky versus the Fever. Because these teams legitimately hate each other. And that's going to be so good for headlines, content, and the games. And I think we're going to be like the Spurs when they have Tim Duncan. We have so much talent. Angel Reese is only going to get better. And I think the popularity is going to grow to the point where we're going to be like, oh, duh, why didn't we focus on women's sports? And then, the Bears. This is my hottest and most based take. Caleb is going to three-peat the championship on a rookie contract. Yeah, hear me out. Because no team has ever three-peated before, but that's because no team has ever won the Super Bowl with the quarterback in the rookie contract 3 years in a row. Do you know why that is? Because, now all of a sudden we don't have enough money to pay for our guys, the defense, all of that. This is the window of opportunity. We have Ben Johnson, who is going to make the play calls for us and be a competitive team. We have Caleb Williams, who's a young guy who's only getting better, who threw for 3,500 yards when he had Shane Waldron as an offensive coordinator, and we are only going to get better. But yeah, we go to the Super Bowl, we win it, then we do it again and again. Rinse and repeat. Why not us? Why not us? Also, the stadium's not going to be built in 5 years. I think in 5 years we're going to be like, so what's the progress? And they're going to have a couple pillars up and that's going to be it. But yeah, that's my last video. If you're a Chicago Fire fan, I don't care enough. Let's go Arsenal. But thanks for watching. I hope you all enjoy. That's all I got. I will talk to you all later. Goodbye. Oh, I still need 15 seconds. One more hot take is I think the next big sport is esports, and we're gonna have a Chicago esports team for Valorant. Yeah.